Hey, what's up guys? My name is Daniel. This is my channel In Stitches, and really it's the only thing keeping me sane during this whole period. What? Yeah. I'm told that sanity is a relative term. I found out that my younger sister is having a baby, which is like basically the Super Bowl of knitting, really. I did get a jump on this whole thing and have made borderline the cutest thing I think I've ever seen. So the question is, what's next? Well, the obvious choice is a baby sweater. Once you decide that you're going to do a baby sweater, you have to decide on what stitch you're going to do. So for me, we're going to do the brioche stitch, which I absolutely love. Now, this stitch is alternately called the honeycomb stitch, and I think it'll be perfect for that sweater. Now, I am going to make it more of a DIY class, so you can bring whatever stitch that you want and it'll apply itself fine to the sweater. I suggest this one. Why don't we talk about the nature of the brioche stitch just a little more? Needle size matters. Every label has the suggested needle size on it. Oftentimes there's a range. So it might say suggested US 5 through 6. With this stitch, in my experience, you're always going to use the smaller of the two. If this one is done loosely, it loves to grow. Gravity loves to stretch it down. So if you go ahead and do, say, an adult sweater, baby sweater, they're going to be on their backs. Gravity's not going to affect it. If you go loosely and you make an adult sweater, well, before too long, you're going to have yourself a sweater dress, which could be kind of cool if that was your intention. The sweater have like 2 lives, 3 lives, but I mean, you'd have to do shorter sleeves, take that into account. So I wouldn't do it. Another thing about it is it's very dense. So, you know, stockinette stitch might be like yay thick, whereas this guy comes in a little thicker. As a result, it uses a lot of wool. So if you're used to doing hat projects or you're used to doing a scarf project, where you know you need about 2 skeins of wool, it's always a good idea to buy one more. It does take up a lot more. The other thing that's good to know, you have to cast on an even number of stitches or the pattern just won't work out. I think I did 26 stitches here. There is also a special bind off, so don't jump out of the video after doing the 4-row repeat and bind off on your own. It's just a little different than a traditional bind off. So should we get knitting? Okay, for the brioche stitch, you cast on an even number of stitches, and there is a repeat of 4 rows throughout the whole pattern, but for this one there's also a preparation row that we'll do just one time in the beginning. So on the wrong side of your work, which will be determined by just whichever side you start this row on, that'll be the wrong side. We're going to start with a knit 1, followed by a yarn over, and a slip 1. Now we're going to slip a stitch, and we're going to slip every stitch in this pattern as if to purl. Right hand needle comes from the back forward, stitch comes off the left hand needle. And repeat, pretty simple. So, knit 1, yarn over, and for those of you that are a little newer to this or carry your yarn differently, yarn over goes like such over the top of the right hand needle. I generally hold on to it with my right finger there. And then we're going to slip 1 purlwise. Now for anyone, knit 1, that wants to go a little swifter and be a fancy pants, you can kind of yarn over and slip that stitch at the same time in one motion. So we've got our knit stitch, right? Done. And then the yarn over that we're putting around this needle here now, we can just continue through with the tip of it to this next stitch on the needle, and that's our slip stitch, and boom, at one time. So I'll go slow, knit one, yarn over, slip stitch, or to go quick, yarn over, slip stitch at one time. So knit one, yarn over, slip, knit one, yarn over, slip, knit one, and we'll just finish out the row doing the same thing. Now that we've done the setup row, this is row 1 of the 4-row repeat. Now you'll notice that last row we had a yarn over and a slip one, our last 2 stitches. So you're in trouble here of this just popping right off and you forgetting about it. So make sure what you have from the first row, from the setup row, this yarn over should be the second stitch in. Okay? You should have a yarn over there trying to escape. That's your slip stitch, which we're going to work first. So to start the first row, we've got to knit one, slip a yarn over stitch, knit 2. So see the yarn overs there from the row before. We're going to slip that as if to purl, right? That's how we're slipping all of our stitches today. Knit 2. There's the next yarn over, so underneath it kind of, hiding out, it's knit number 2, and then the yarn overs we're slipping. Okay, they're a little sloppy, don't worry about them. They've got a purpose in their future. This one's pretty basic all the way across. Knit 2, slip the yarn over. So much so that I think we'll just fast forward through. Now this is row 2 of our 4-row repeat. Start off with a yarn over and a slip 1. So we're yarning over a needle with no stitches on it. Shouldn't be a big deal, but it will feel maybe a tiny bit weird. Slip 1. Now we're going to knit the yarn over and the next stitch together. The 2 of those stitches are kind of huddled up on there anyway, so we're just going to give them what they want. Knit them together. Yarn over, slip 1, knit 2 together. Basics. Yarn over, slip 1, knit 2 together. You can go back to that yarn over, slip 1 in one motion type thing that we were doing before, or you can do it just more one motion at a time. Okay, row 3 of the 4-row repeat. Super basic row here. Knit 2, slip yarn over stitch all the way across. 1. Again, the yarn over likes to huddle up sometimes. Really no respect for the space of other stitches. We're going to knit that one. It's kind of like being bullied by the yarn over. And then the yarn over slips over. Boom. Knit 2. Slip the yarn over all across. Okay, row 4 of the 4-row repeat. This is the last row, and then we're just going to repeat those previous 4. That looks a little wonky. The last stitch we did on row 3 was a slip stitch, slip yarn over. So it looks a little funny, whatever. We're gonna knit these 2 together anyway to start off. So it's a knit 2 together, one being a yarn over, knit the stitch and a yarn over together, then a yarn over, slip one, and repeat. Put the first two together, yarn over, slip one, knit two together. Oops. Now, I was doing the two for the price of one move. So we'll do it slowly just for, instructional sake. Yarn over, slip one purlwise, knit two together, yarn over, slip one purlwise, knit two together, yarn over, slip one purlwise, knit two together. So forth. Okay, so now we're going to do the bind off row. Bind off row is a little different in the brioche stitch than it is with others, in that you have to be on the right side of the work. So you'll notice the front side here. And instead of just knitting one, knitting a second one and pulling it over the top, we're going to start with a knit one. And then what we have here is a yarn over. Anytime there's a yarn over, we're going to knit it together with the following stitch. Those two stitches are going to get knit together. And then we're going to bind off one stitch, as you normally would. Back stitch goes over the top. Voila. So that's the difference. So here, I've got a stitch and then I have another yarn over. So the stitch just gets worked to normal. Bind it off, or bind off the last one. And now I have another yarn over. So it's going to get knit together with the following stitch. And then we bind off. So that's the rhythm of it. You bind off as normal until you get to a yarn over. You knit the yarn over together with the following stitch, such as right now, right? And then you bind off normally. So really, you're alternating between a regular bind off right here and where there's a yarn over, where you kind of knit two together and then bind off. Hope that makes sense. I'll go slowly a couple more times and then you should have the gist of it. What do we have there? They're kind of tight, so it's tougher to tell. There's a regular stitch first. Bind it off. Now with the yarn over, same story. We knit two together. Okay, congratulations guys, you did it again. Brioche stitch, so cool. I love it for any number of things. As I mentioned before, there is going to be a DIY baby sweater class here in the next probably week or two. I'm going to come up with it. I got a little knitting to do of my own. This is a stitch that lends itself to just a lot of really cool things. I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. Trying to make them a little bit funny, but also informative. Obviously, you know what's coming next. Please subscribe to the channel. It'll make me feel good. Even if it's superficial, I'm okay if it's just superficial. Give me a like, share it. If you do subscribe, hit the little bell so you get a heads up when I'm coming out with a new video. Like I said, I'm going to continue churning these out because it's like a therapy for me, but also it's something that I love to do. So I hope that comes through. And yeah, leave me some comments too. Let's chop it up. I'd love to know if you have any questions or if there's any projects or techniques you want to learn in the future. I'm happy to do them for you. So, all right. I hope you guys stay safe. Thank you again. Have a wonderful day.